How would you describe how much it meant to the history of the sport?
Well, it's just another team that Michael denied, right? And it's a team that had lost in the Eastern Conference Finals both years that Michael was playing baseball, or the second year he had just come back. So for them, they felt like they had missed an opportunity to get to the finals when Michael was out or not 100%. And this was their chance. They felt that the Bulls were vulnerable and aging and old, and they got so close. I mean, Jalen will talk about how close they got. They were ahead by 13 points early. And it's just it's another what if for all the players who got denied a ring because of Michael Jordan's greatness.
Jalen, as you think back on that series and that game in particular, what emotion comes immediately to you?
Well, I'm just happy that our Pacers are wearing that blue and gold, ball head, black shoes, and black socks. Brought that to the NBA. I was just a bug on the windshield, Greeny. Happy to be there as a young player. So many amazing Hall of Famers at what they do. You got Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc. You put Jud Bushler on me, I'm going to take the bucket, as you see right there. On the other side, Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Chris Mullin, Larry Bird on the sideline with a young Rick Carlisle. And so just to have the opportunity to be in the game, in the building, was a total honor.
Did your team feel like it should have won?
Absolutely. No question about it. That's the beauty of sports, Greeny. While the rest of the world is celebrating Michael and the Bulls and their greatness, and rightfully so, we're about to upset the apple cart. That's exactly what we're thinking. We played them 11 times that year. They won 6, we won 5. It was actually that close.
It was 5-5 going into that decisive Game 7. And again, the Pacers led a lot of the way. Zach, I remember watching that game thinking to myself, the Bulls are going to lose. This is actually going to happen. They're going to lose. Do you think much about how history would have been different if Chicago, and in particular Jordan, don't win that series?
I don't think about it that much because it was really going to be 1 year, right? It was one championship. It's one team that's going to win a championship. But I'm with you, Greeny. The reason I've always been fascinated with this game and wanting to revisit it, it was the only game of the 6 title runs I remember ever feeling, holy cow, they might lose. A Michael Jordan team might lose. It was like a completely new emotion. And I vividly remember sitting on my couch thinking, I've never felt this way before. And I just want to give props to Jalen and the Pacers because in my head, they were ahead the whole game, and Michael came back at the end and stole the game for the Bulls. And that's not what happened. The Bulls were ahead by 8 in the third quarter, and how many times have we seen that same game where the home team just sort of goes on to win by 10, 11, 12? For the Pacers to punch back and take the lead on the road in the fourth quarter, that is a tough, tough team, and a team I always really liked, actually. I had a sweet spot for that team.
Jalen, why do you look so pained?
Because the world wouldn't be much different if Michael Jordan had 5 championships and I had 1. It wouldn't be much different.
It would. And here's why, Jalen, I have to disagree. The greatness of Jordan, the reason that he is placed on the pedestal that he is by those of us who will always put him ahead of LeBron, is that he never lost. He never lost. From the time he started winning, he never lost, Jalen. If he loses in that conference final, it makes a difference, Jalen. I think it does.
And he doesn't have 2 three-peats. From 2010 to 2020, LeBron James has won 3 championships. Michael Jordan has 2 three-peats. So I agree with you. Had we ended that run, then we would be talking about things probably a lot different. Man, it just pains me to think that we had a double-digit lead at Chicago in Game 7. Oh, man.
It was a brilliant game. And Zach's piece is fabulous. It's up right now on ESPN.com. Zach Lowe, while I have you, I want to ask you about something. Michael Jordan's longtime agent, David Falk, said earlier this week that if Michael played today, he would average, quote, between 50 and 60 a game. What do you think?
With respect to David Falk, I think that's a little much. Now, look, he averaged 37 and 35 in separate years, and we just saw James Harden chase 40 a couple times, so I don't think it's crazy to say a Michael Jordan with no hand checking, with no bad boys throwing him on the floor, shooting more threes off the dribble probably, can get to 40 in a couple of years, but 50, 60, I think the one thing that is often overlooked in this discussion is all of those times Michael catches the ball in the mid-post and does his little arch back thing and goes to work. back in those days, because of the illegal defense rules, you had to either single cover him or send really hard double teams, and it was easier to read. Now they've essentially made zone defense legal, so you could do all sorts of tricky things and half helps and double and triple rotations. Scoring one-on-one out of the post is harder today than it was then, and that's not just because players aren't as skilled at it. It's because they changed the rules to make it harder. So I don't think 50 or 60 is super realistic, but I think a run or two at 40 is totally in play.
Jalen, if Michael Jordan played in the NBA today, what are you shaking your head for? What do you think?
Well, I have some simple math for everybody out there. First off, just look at the greatness of James Harden currently. He's averaging like 36, okay? He's getting none of those off of how he plays defense. Just think about Michael Jordan is going to be getting steals. He's going to be getting blocks. He's going to be getting breakaway dunks. He's probably the most athletic player that the game has seen. And he averaged 35 then. So just think about this, Greeny. In today's era, I'll give him one more basket a quarter. Just one more basket a quarter. That's 8 points. I'll give him one trip to the line each quarter. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 8 points. That's 16. He getting close to 50. So I would say the way Wilt had an assault on the record book, and you know, Greedy, we've been talking about this for over 2 decades.
Yep.
Michael Jordan would have been that player that would have been hovering close to 50, and we would have been talking about somebody doing what Wilt did. So I'll say like 47 and a half is what Michael Jordan would have.
I think I agree. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.